Merry Christmas! It's another year, and I sit down with my friend and fellow agent, Cyndi Williams, who joined us over 2 years ago after running her own brokerage, Cabo Premier. She has 40 years of real estate experience, almost as long as I've been alive. We sit down, we talk about what she sees in the market right now, her challenges, a little bit about her history. She's been on 4 podcasts now. I really liked this almost hour-long podcast. Take a listen. So what's been happening the 2 years with Ronival? It's been good. I love having you as someone I can talk to, someone that has experienced more than me on that side of the peninsula, and working with interesting deals that you always seem to drum up. They're never easy closings with you.
Nothing is ever easy. I have been, and I've been like this my whole career. Somehow I attract the toughest clients and the toughest deals, but I think maybe it's just what keeps me going. It's never boring.
And you learn a lot,
sure.
Always.
Always. I just learned something new today, that you can actually get an apostille out of La Paz.
You can also, I think, the apostille, I know you can notarize documents online.
Yes,
now,
found out about that, but we had problems. The document that needs to be notarized needs to go to Oregon, or it is in Oregon, it exists in Oregon, and the person here does not have any United States IDs.
Oh.
So it got so complicated like crazy. But yes, actually one of our clients, so I'm working with Tycor Title in Oregon, and he just called me right before I came in here, that's why it's fresh in my mind, and said, okay, we can arrange this, notary 7, and then they can go next door for this apostille. And I'm like, because we don't have a consulate really anymore. Marcel's there, but not trained. So it was just like, you know how everything's complicated. Just nothing is easy.
And that's owning property, selling property, buying property, running a company, just going to the bank. It's
just daily insanity, but I guess I wouldn't do anything else because here I am still 15 years later, right?
Right.
And the irony, sometimes I'm walking around with like Alanis Morissette song. I was just thinking
Is it ironic or what?
Yes. And it goes through my head as I go. This morning I got up super early to get my car washed because I had to go to bank, which is Scotia. So those guys are awesome in the parking lot.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm on this. I got time because I got to go to Chedwowie to finish shopping for the open house for Saturday. Oh, not a car wash guy to be found. Any other day, they're chasing me all the way into the
20
store. So here we go. Alanis Morissette song. Other day, Costco. You know how they're always going to help you?
Yep.
Not a soul to be found, and I had all the beer and the wine
to
and
unload
everything.
The stuff.
All by myself. Alanis Morissette song.
It keeps you youthful and smiling, laughing, and it gives you great stories to tell.
Yeah, stories, lots of them.
So what's been happening this year? How have you seen, with all your real estate experience, seeing ups and downs, flatlining markets? How do you see the market this year?
2023 that we just went through. Okay, so how do I explain this? Just from, this is my 40th year, but I'm only 29.
How does that work?
It's scary.
That
scares me when I say it. So I've seen the ups and downs. I really call it, and people could call me wrong as they can. I see 7-year cycles, even though they might extend or shorten. So we've been 3 years up. Right? December 27th, 2020 is when I started to lose my mind, and we've been that many years. So we're 3 years. And now we're going to, what I feel is we're hitting that plateau because we will level off in it's a year and a half to 2 years of where are we going. Then maybe it's the slide down and then we come back up. So I feel 2023 was the start of the plateau. It was a good year. I mean, we all did good sales. We made good numbers. When we look at our leaderboard, you can see there's a lot of millions that have transacted.
Right.
That's great. But I found summer to be quiet, very, very quiet. And I think all of our numbers show that we really started to see the slowdown.
Yep.
It's still there. It's not picking up. I literally have time to do my dishes in the day. Never have had time to do my dishes in the day, seriously. So I'm like, okay, that's how I know.
What's your guess? Your best guess as to how long we run this plateau?
I think 2025.
Okay, so for the next 2 years, 24 and 25 will be at this level that we've seen in 23, and then maybe see some dipping?
That's a possibility, though. That's the norm in the market. And if we were to see the dipping, I think we'd see it like towards the end of 24.
Yep.
But remember, as we know, we are always affected by the U.S. elections.
Yep.
So that's going to get really different for us for a while. We're not going to be able to figure it out towards the end of 2024. And then 2025 will kind of be our telling stick. It could start to head back up, like mid-2025. And it all depends on, of course, what's going on in the world with interest rate, everything that's happening everywhere. So I don't see us facing a crash again. I don't see us facing a 2008 at all. I know some economists are calling for it, but I don't feel that one coming yet. There's still too much energy, too many questions, too many people hitting our call center. There's still too much going on.
There's too much equity also in our American properties. There's never before have we seen so much equity.
Right.
I heard a statistic that it's something like maybe 30-40% of homeowners have no mortgages. They own their properties outright, and the average equity a homeowner in the United States is like $300,000 of equity. That's like
never been.
No, never been. And so it's with that much equity, and of course in 2008, all that equity, that phantom equity, was because of the mortgage crisis, artificially inflated equity prices.
It's horrifying, actually.
But that's not the case. We'll still have, for finished product, inventory very low,
right?
Even in our market, in the States also. So it'll be very interesting. My prediction is that we'll see it'll be like this, little bumps, topes, speed bumps, and depending on your niches, right? So if you're in a certain neighborhood, if you're in a certain community, and if you're a certain property type, certain price point, those little niches are some are going to prevail stronger than others in the next 2 to 3 years. I think long term, though, it's going to be awesome.
Well, how long have we been doing this, Nick?
Yeah.
It's like, for the new people, I always feel bad for them when they enter the market, when the market's like in this uproar. They don't ever know that it will end, and they live like it's never going to end. And
especially real estate agents.
Well, that's what I mean.
Oh, that's
real estate agent. The young ones that come in and boom, it's easy, and they have no idea that it can change. And you've seen it, I've seen it. 2008, 9, whatever, was the scariest in the world, but none of us knew it could hit that hard, for sure. Even me.
Yeah.
But I think for those of us that work, it's always been the same. Up markets, down markets, we're still just cruising along, doing what we do.
No matter how bad the market is, there will always be sales in real estate.
Always.
And I think that the newer agents, less than 3 years of real estate experience, those are the ones that are feeling it.
Because they have a lot to do to build that. It takes years. I really tell everybody it takes 10 years to put that foundation down. And now I started over in my career from being highly successful, where I came from, thinking it would be easy. It really took 10 years to where now the business comes in and the referrals come in. But I struggled the first 5 years down here tremendously. Yeah. The market was horrible as well.
For those that don't know, you entered the market in what year?
2008.
Yeah. So welcome to the Cabo real estate market, 2008.
Yeah.
You're going to get no sales.
You're going to get none.
You're going to work really hard, and you're going to not see money. A lot of agents didn't get one sale.
Well, I kept saying my girlfriend Laura, I'm like, this is insane. She's like, the law of averages. I'm like, it's not working.
the law of averages over a decade.
Exactly. But I'm finding that my little assistant just left California 2 years ago, moved to Idaho. Mm-hmm. And she's like the other night on the phone, how did you do it? And I go, honey, it's not easy. She goes, I was doing great here. It's 10 years to build that foundation. Real estate is not a career where you can just up and move around the world. You have to stay put. It's just how it works. So it's not like I'm a nurse. Oh, I think I want to move to Japan tomorrow, or let's go to Bali for a year. It doesn't work that way. Real estate takes a lot of time to nurture.
So for newer agents or people considering of being a real estate agent, is it part-time or full-time?
Oh, anybody that goes into real estate thinking they can work part-time is just, I'm sorry, I guess, I don't mean to sound harsh, but delusional. You can't work part-time in real estate, not at all. You can barely take a vacation, you never get a real vacation, because you can't turn your phone off. But no, it's 7 days a week. It's 24 hours a day. Yes, you do get to sleep, but you don't get to really do much else. You kind of fit your life in between. Mm-hmm. It's not where, I'm going to take today off and go to the beach. Well, I don't remember the last time I've been to the beach, because you don't get to take a day off.
It's that last beachfront listing, Cyndi. That's the last
Well, that's the only time I get to see the beach. I tell you, that's the only time I do anything if it's work related. Otherwise, forget it. But no, if you're going to do your job right, mm-hmm. you have to consider it a career. It's not a hobby. Real estate is not a hobby business at all. Mm-hmm. For those that do, they make a little bit of money here, they make a little bit of money there. It's forgiving enough if you're just representing a buyer or two, but not if you're going into the listing side. Right. You owe your clients that. You're signing up with your clients to say, okay, you're my top priority in life, and I'll put myself on the back burner because we've got it. You're trusting me to do this.
Give me an example, recent example of that, where you are 110% committed to your sellers because that's the way you've operated your business. What do you do that you see other agents not do?
Well, as we know, I have a little bit tougher clients and tougher properties and stuff. So those relationships are long-term. Mm-hmm. They're not, okay, we were talking about Daryl. Okay, I list your house. See you later. Bye-bye. Mm-hmm. And most of my clients have already been a part of my life for so long. So the connection is there. But, I was thinking about it the other day because, say I have 40 clients. I think I'm only carrying 40 listings right now, 40 clients. Out of those 40, 30 of them, I pretty much talk to at least once a week. And you become part of their world in the sense that their problems, I don't like the word problems, their issues, their concerns become yours. And that is one of the hardest parts of doing at least my job for me, is I take on their stress. Yeah. They're desperate. They need to get out of the house, but lowering the price is not an option. So you're feeling their stress all the time. Okay, Cyndi, we really need this money. Well, I don't know what to do because this is all we can do. Or we're bleeding money or these things. But you hear that from your clients. That's part of what you go through. For me, with an example, here's an example of Vista Soul. Mm-hmm. My heart and soul's in that development. Yep. And that's a daily work chore. My clients, all of us, daily on the phone, daily making decisions. And I would say, we had 8 houses to sell. I've been working on it for over a year. I dare say I've got over 2,000 hours invested into this development. I'm only selling 8 houses. Yep. So when you look at the return on your time, there's something else. I could probably just sell 3 houses in the Pedregal, and that's all I needed to do for a year.
Yep.
But
you don't do it for the money.
I don't. I need money because I cost a lot. I cost double. I don't know what it is.
What do you spend your money on?
I have no idea. I'm just like, even my friends say, and this has been from the beginning of time. Why does everything cost you double? You just pay double. I guess I do.
You take people out. You're covering the bills.
Yeah, I'm pretty generous. I do less charity work because I'm more busy now. But yeah, I say the same thing. What do I spend my money on? Less than I used to. But still, I don't get it. I don't know. I'm definitely not frugal, and I'm not wasteful.
Right.
But I would say I'm really generous. Somebody doesn't have money to go somewhere that we're going, I will pick up that bill. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'll pay for it or whatever. I don't know. Plants? Maybe I like plants. I have no idea.
All right. We digress. So working listings obviously is a big part of your business. Mm-hmm. And you can literally pick and choose which buyers you work with.
I do. I have to, actually. Because when you come across something that's really unrealistic, especially when the seller, or you're talking buyers.
Buyers.
I do pick and choose my buyers only because of the time. I either have to dedicate my time to my clients that have hired me to sell their property. If you try to split your time too much, I don't feel that you can service either side very well.
Yep.
As you know, buyers take a lot of time in a short term.
Yep.
It's intense, showing houses and everything. Sellers take a lot of time over the long term.
A long time.
Yeah, a lot of time over the long term, yeah.
How have you seen closings this year compared to the past decade and a half? Easier, harder, same, different challenges for closings?
Yes and no. I find them getting easier, but maybe that's just because I do a bunch. And you know me, I like to handle my own closings. I don't like other people doing them. So for me, it's easy because I've been doing it a long time. I have good closing agents I work with, so I don't have drama. But I find that every time we institute these new rules, it's not like we have a communication line. It's not like NBC News where, newsflash, now you need a FEAL, electronic signature. Now you need this. We don't have it. So we learn.
Yeah, because you run and like, that changed?
Right.
Our clients are like, why didn't you know that? It's like literally the attorneys, the notaries don't know. It's just like it's a new.
And we don't have that news source. Like under my broker's license in California, everything that happens, I get notifications from the DRE still now, right?
Really?
So updates and law changes, that's all there. You can just go to the website. Good luck trying to find out what we've created now. And so what I found this year that's been the hardest is the full-time resident or
part-time or tourist?
No, not tourist. The deduction. The resident deduction against capital gains.
Yeah.
That's thrown us for a loop with the need for the electronic signature. The need. This one's great. You have to put both names on the CFE bill now to register the RFCs that both people have to get. That was taking 8 months to get appointments for. So then with Bob Schultz, right? Or Bobby, my friend forever. He's like, Cyndi, what do we do? And I go to CFE, but they won't let me put Marsha's name on it. It said only one name. So we have crazy things that throw us a little bit for a loop. Yeah.
So in some ways easier, some ways more difficult. Always with a smile on your face.
Always.
And so what about I want to go back to the agents. I think that with the change in the market, we're seeing trends in the real estate market for agents or agencies. One of the topics that has come up with our agents is working with listings or trying to win listings and competing with other agents and agents discounting their commissions. So for those of you that don't know, the average real estate commission in our MLS is right around 8%. So that means a buyer agent earns 4%, the listing agent earns 4%. Under most cases, there's always exceptions, but that's the average. What are you seeing in the market?
I'm seeing actually that people are undercutting the commissions to try to achieve that listing, to try to win that listing.
Yep.
But I find it detrimental in the sense that people don't understand the cost, the time, everything, and I get it. They just think you sold their house and you made this much money. Yep. We know the money goes in 50 directions and everything else. But what happens down here is so much different in the States. And I hear people compare it. Well, I only pay 3% in the States. I said, that's because we put your house on the market. It's usually sold in 15 days and closed in 30 in normal markets if it's priced right. Here, I have carried listings for 4 years. Maybe an example, Cabo lot back in the day. I spent more money on advertising and marketing by a lot. I was in the hole on that
After
deal.
you sold it and got your commission.
Yes, absolutely. So what people don't understand is the time. What's the average right now? About 280 days?
Yeah, just under 300 days.
Right. On the market. Well, you figure all the
But that's for sold listings. That doesn't take into account unsold listings.
Oh, right. That's just when we close them.
Yep.
So if you go in there, you can see stuff on the market, 580 days, 600 days. So that, along with during that time that you're carrying these listings, and we know they're not selling. I mean, I tell people that after a month on the market, well, why isn't it sold? I say, you got to plan on 6 months. The way we are, we're a second home market. People are looking. They're looking. They're not searching for a home, waiting for it to come up in that neighborhood. They're, So to cut the commissions, I find is detrimental to the whole industry. If you can't win that listing with working in market standards, I feel that maybe you shouldn't have it, because the reasoning, you're not going to work as hard for that percentage as you are for a higher percentage. You can't afford to invest so much more, or what we're expected to as market standards. We can't really afford to invest that at a 3% to us commission on the listing side. Buyer, different story. But, and here's something that I know you're aware of, but I had Serge running some stuff and we were chatting. Right now there's 1,250, I think it's 1,246, but that was the thing, but 1,250 agents.
Yep.
There were only 2,600 sales to date. So you have to also look at what you're doing a disservice to your client in saying, okay, yeah, well, we'll do 3. I know, but, it's like, oh, yeah. What's the first thing that pops up, Nick, when you look at the screen on the listing? Right smack in the middle is the commission. Yeah. So you got to understand, all these agents are trying to survive. This may be their only deal or the other deal. So they're looking. And whether it's right or wrong, whether it's ethical or not, it doesn't matter. That's the first thing they see is that commission. So I tell my sellers, do you want to sell? Do you want me to bring the 1,200 agents to us? Or do you just want me to reach the attention of maybe 200 of them? Right. I mean, what's the point? Because they'll march right on by it, So that is, as the listing agents cutting these commissions just to get the listing, they're hurting themselves.
Well, I think it's important to have everyone's interests aligned. Okay, so you have the seller, you have the buyer, you have the listing agent, and you have the buyer agent, right? We're in a market of 8% listings, 4% and 4%. And for the seller, they want the best representation. They want their agent to pick up the phone when they call. They want those weekly updates on how the listings are going. They want the best marketing. They want all the advertising. They want as much traffic. They want the open houses if it's a house or condo. So that's time. That costs money, right? The buyers, they want a listing agent that has done all the due diligence and put the time in, collected all the documents to make sure it can be legally transferred to them as a buyer. The buyer agent wants that also. The buyer agent wants to get paid, like you were saying.
Yep.
And so the buyer, the seller also wants, on top of that, to get the most money, not in terms of the sales price, not in terms of the commission. I believe the sellers are most concerned with what do they net in the end.
Yes.
And so the variables that factor into that, yes, commission is one of them, but also how good is your listing agent in terms of negotiating? How good is your listing agent of getting more buyers to come through your property? Mm-hmm. The more buyers you have, the more traffic, the more of a potential bidding war you can get on listings. And there still are cases of that this year that we've experienced with our listings. And so you get the highest price possible. So when you look at our listings as a company, we get the highest list price to sale price to the point where I did a study on the Pacific side. Right. All the closed listings this year, we have, with our nearest competitors, we yield 5 to 8% more than our competition. So when we're competing on individual listings, 6%, 5% compared to 8%, that 2 to 3% doesn't even register because we're yielding on average 5 to 8% more than our competition. And then you're not even taking into the variable of time. How much faster are we selling our properties? We sell our properties faster. Time is money. So properties in the Baja, it costs more money to maintain. The pool, the landscaping, the security, HOA dues, and all of those things factor in to what your net is, right? Net time, net money. Yep. And so I think the agents that can better explain that, not just, hey, what's the commission? What's the list price? That's it. Okay, I'll take your listing for $10 million when it's a $2 million house. And guess what's going to happen? It's going to be on the market for 5 years. We're going to do 10 price reductions, and you're going to end up yielding a lower sales price than you would have if you price it at $2 million, right? And you're chasing the market half the time with that. So, it's one thing to throw it out there at a little bit higher, but it's better to realize that price your property right and move it. There was a time where the market was going up, and we couldn't catch it. Yep. Well, now I feel like there's a time where the market's going to go down. Yep. And those that aren't adjusting prices are going to get behind the 8 ball, and we're just going to, how it goes, another price adjustment, price adjustment. That's another statistic I ran on the Pacific side with our listings compared to our competitors is the original list price and the final list price. Yep. So we reduced our original list price, the OLP to the LP, a much smaller percentage. So we price it right, better than our competition. So you don't follow it down. You actually price it right. You get it sold faster, higher price. Because otherwise you're behind that 8 ball heading down. If the market was going up, we were behind. We weren't listing high enough. Now I'm finding that the market is being overpriced. And a lot of the agents, they're trying to keep, or the brokerages maybe trying to keep the market share and high prices and low commissions. Well, to me, that's a recipe for disaster, if you ask me. Price the property right, put the commission to where it's interesting, catches the attention of other people. A lot of my listings, I tell them, look, let's do 10%. 10%. Let's not do agent bonuses. Let's not do any of that. 10% listings. Land, I think, should still be at 10%. Land's tough, Houses are tough too, though, because one thing that I wish we could do in our market, and I don't know how we could, is lock boxes. I know for a long time why we couldn't. We had no control. Yeah. But it makes it really hard as a listing agent as well. Another reason why we earn that commission, we have to physically be there to show every property. That's not the norm. Right. So people ask me, well, I pay less in California. I say, yeah, but you don't have the same service that you have here either, where we are physically
present for the showings.
Yeah, it was 20 years ago when I was selling real estate in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
As a buyer agent, all I would need to do is send the request in, show up, lockbox, super key,
Yep.
let myself in, drop a business card. That's it.
Yep.
If the listing agent follows up for feedback, they do so. But that was it. It was so easy as a buyer agent. You didn't have to schedule things.
Mm-hmm.
Listing agent, super easy because you just put it on the MLS and you just let the system take over.
And mainly it sells within 30 days anyway in a normal market, right, or average market. Here, we do work. And I'm not complaining because I've been doing this forever. We work 10 times harder.
Yep.
And that is not an exaggeration. First of all, we have clients that aren't here.
Mm-hmm.
They're not here. So you get the phone call. Cyndi, can you go check my house? Cyndi, somebody said this. So you wear a lot of hats as a listing broker. Mm-hmm. You're kind of the counselor. Mm-hmm. You're an architect. You're an engineer.
Home inspector. Property manager.
Uh-huh. And
cleaner.
Can you go pay cleaner? Oh my gosh, I have a funniest story. Oh my gosh, it's funny. I'll tell you another time. But it was like, what do I do? The house has cucarachas. What do I do? I had to call the seller and say, sweep them under the bed. Check under the bed when you get back. But I'm like, sorry. But yes, you are all of that. Many times you have to appear at the house an hour beforehand, especially if it's vacant, because you know you have to clean it.
That's right.
You know you have to. So it's not the same. We cannot compare our commission structure with the amount of work that we do here to the commission structures in the U.S., which we hear it all the time.
Yeah. Hey, I just signed one for 5%. Okay. But we're here and it's different. And let me explain to you how it's different. Not just it's 8% or it's 10% or 7%, whatever the percentage is, and that's it. It's like communicate the explanation. And fortunately, we have the experience to be able to communicate that.
Well, I've turned away a few listings. I said I won't take a 6% listing. I'm sorry. I won't do it. So when it's the $12 million properties, I still don't like to do it. Really, I don't. And I, as you know, I get higher commissions on my listings because I'm like, I'm going to be with you for probably the next 2 years of my life.
And I only get paid when I sell it and close it.
And you've already cost me a fortune because you want me to pay the property taxes and do that. It's like, but I hope that we can kind of the market is not boom, boom, boom. 6-month listings, all the sellers started to go, well, I only want to do a 6-month listing. I'm like, I'm sorry, I just can't. I can't commit. I don't have time in 6 months, short of being absolutely lucky.
Yep.
That crystal ball lucky. That a year listing is what we need here. That's absolutely what we need. And we need a minimum of 8% commissions for to do our job, to do it right, to put our heart and soul into it, and the finances that requires to carry those listings, which
Yep. No, it's intense. And, you don't write those big checks. I write those big checks every month. And it's hard when market time is extended. There's not as many buyers. There's 20% less closed transactions this year compared to last year. And the year 2022 was about 10 to 20% less than 21. 21 was our biggest year. 21
was insane.
Yeah. 22 was still very good, especially the first half, 22. Right. And then 23 is by no means has the floor dropped out. I mean, we're still about 2.5 times more in terms of sales than 2019 in our MLS. But it's hard to stomach that when you experience 2 or 3 crazy good years for everyone. Yeah,
exactly.
But it's get back to the basics.
Right.
Work hard.
I think that we're going to see that. We'll see dropouts. I mean, 1,024 agents or 1,250 agents aren't going to be able to stay around anymore. We're going to see that trend kind of slow down. Mm-hmm. And I think we're going to see properties on the market longer. Yep. We just had a good couple of years and people got very spoiled by it. Yep. And sellers got very spoiled by it. And is not going to last. I think we're going to start seeing the year, 300 days pretty much average on everything. on houses and condos. Land, you know as well as I do, sometimes land sits on the market for 3 years. I told you about the 4 year. 4 year.
No, it's true. I had a house. It took on and off. Sometimes you take it off in the season. 5 years. 5 years
Of marketing.
Yeah. No, and the seller emotions back and forth. Take it off. Why aren't you doing this? What are you? And everything sometimes you do is wrong.
Right.
And unfortunately, most of the time it's the market. And so, but we're listing agents are gluttons for punishment. It's
that I am really seriously, because when I left California, I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore, and here I am back to the same long-term client, because it's what I love. But you just fall back into what you're good at, I suppose, and that's me. I'm patient. I love my clients. It's not about money, as you well know me on that one. I don't even know sometimes what the commission is. Yep. Like people, Maria, Cyndi, what's the commission on this? I don't know. But it's
I mean, you're a rare breed. I mean, most agents, they're not like that. Most agents, they're like counting, okay, how much can I make before they even get a contract?
That's what I'm saying.
I have a $5 million buyer. Oh my gosh, I can make hundreds of thousands of dollars on just one sale, but not realizing all of the things that have to happen to lead up to that.
And they spend their money before they get it.
Yeah.
They're banking on. I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't even want to know what money's coming until you actually send it to my bank. Like it's out of sight, out of mind. But it takes a long time to learn that as well.
No, it does. And I think my advice to any agents, no matter what your experience level is, it's hard in this market to see the sales every week or every month. Is just know what tasks you need to do every day, every week, and track that. That's all it is. It's just tracking the daily tasks. And in my world, in our world, it's conversations, it's meetings, it's touring property, it's contracts written, listings signed. That's all it is. It's very simple.
It's being out there and always being out there and always being on. When I used to train, the first thing I did, they got 100 business cards. I know we don't do business cards anymore, so in the dinosaur days when I taught real estate, 100 business cards. Okay, don't come back. The next class is in 5 days. If you have any cards left on you, don't come back.
Yeah, so you need to be handing them out, meeting people.
Well, where we do this, I don't care. Stand on the street corner, we get rid of 100 cards. That's your start. If you can't manage that task at the beginning of your career, then don't worry about it. Don't
go
come
do
back.
something else.
Don't come back. Because that's the key, is being out in front of people. It's evolving differently now. I can't say I like real estate as much sitting behind a computer, because it's not me. I want to move. And it has become more of a task of many hours behind a computer, which is different.
Yep.
So it
doesn't have to be that way. You can hire people.
No, they mess up.
You're a control freak.
Well,
we all are.
It's just, you're right. I could hire 2 assistants right now, but I'm still overseeing everything, so I'd rather just do it myself. And then I don't have to apologize if I'm the only one to blame, right? Yep. So, yeah. But
all right, Cyndi. Well, thanks for coming in.
It was fun. Good catch up, Nick.
Good to catch up. And, I have your back whenever you need me.
Always.
You don't call on me very much, but I know when you do, it's important.
As I always tell you, boy, I'm never going to bother you, but when I call, it's because I'm stressed.
It maybe happens once a quarter.
Yeah, but you're always there for me. I can't tell you more how much support I feel like I have with the company. It's phenomenal, and I'm happy to be here.
No, I'm happy. I think it's great to have good clients. It's great to good clients, and it's great to work with fellow agents and people inside the company that you like to see. They like to see you. You laugh. You smile. You have a good time.
Yeah, it should be fun. Our job should be fun, because behind the scenes, sometimes you're just like, just shoot me now.
Why am I doing this?
Oh, that happens many a times, every other week. But I'm doing it. Been doing it my whole life. Anyway,
glutton for punishment.
Glutton for punishment, that my mama says.
All right.
Anyhow.
All right, Cyndi.
Thank you. Thanks,
right.
Nick. Feliz Navidad.
Feliz Navidad. Until the next one. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Nick Fong Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast and the YouTube channel at youtube.com/Ronival Real Estate and follow Nick on Instagram at NickFong_Ronival. Ready to find your Baja dream home? Check out the latest property listings at Ronival.com or findmexicohouses.com. Hasta luego.